July 21st, 2005, we made signed the final paperwork to buy Three River Services from Marianne and Lanier Devine. Calvin had worked with Marianne and Lanier for a long time before that, and they were ready to retire at the age of 79 and 81. So we thought it'd be a good idea to go back in time and talk about how it is to work with your spouse. So we're going to rehash a little bit of our first days for you guys, just to give you an insight of why we truly are a family-owned company and what that means to us. So let's get started with history. On December 20th, 2003, Calvin and I got married. I was 19, he was 23. We went, and I was still in college. He was working for Marianne and Lanier Devine at that point, and we were just getting started in life. I mean, college kid, everybody's usual dreams, eating ramen noodles very much, and the occasional sauteed stir fry that we had once a week. Yeah. So then, like everybody else in Louisiana, we faced our first big challenge. That's going to be a challenge. Not only were we newly married, but we also newly owned a business. And then what hit Louisiana?
Hurricane Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina hit Louisiana.
2 months after we bought the company.
What? 1 month.
Was it only 1 month?
Yeah, 1 month. This is also a part of working with your spouse.
Yeah.
So Katrina hit. So that was our first challenge as new business owners and newly married couples working through this. But we made it through. We worked like crazy. We went through, it's made probably our marriage a little bit stronger than most people. Now that we look 15 years later, we don't understand what it's like to work outside of each other. But with that comes its own challenges. Do you have a challenge you want to discuss?
There's a lot of challenges to being married and working with your spouse. And we also have 4 children to boot with that. So it's the biggest challenge is not bringing your work home. So when you're done during the day, after you've been at the office, when you get to the house, that you kind of let that stuff stay at the office. That's probably the biggest challenge. Because if you don't, it will cause more problems, I think.
So the way we figured out how this happens, because in the service industry, not too many people come in and walk into our business on a daily basis. I mean, more than welcome to, but it's not a normal because we're a service company. So we have to go to you to find out what your problem is in your AC and heating. Well, at this point, it was just Calvin, me, and Nita, because I was still finishing up my degree. And whenever we started having children, Samantha, our oldest, will actually be 13 on July 19th. So 13 years ago, we started having our second challenge, throwing children into the mix of working together. So now we're not only business owners, married couple, but parents. It came with its own challenges, but we feel like we've, rode the waves pretty well with it. Mm-hmm. We decided to move the company into our commercial location that we are now whenever Samantha was probably 2 years old, and we would come home and talk about the business because that was our norm, talking about business whenever we got home. And our 2-year-old looked at us and said, Mommy, Daddy, stop talking to each other and talk to me. And at that point, that was an aha moment to where we were like, we got to get this thing out of our house, out of our small office, and into a commercial location. even though it's only a few miles away from our home, it's enough time for us to stop and say, no more talking about it. We got to actually, understand that we're raising children too. So,
yeah.
Calvin's a little bit better about leaving things at the office than I am. I'm not as good at it.
I don't like to talk about it, so that's the reason I'm good at it, because I just don't like talking about it. If it's a problem, I just leave it and don't talk about it.
So then, our next challenges as being married and working in the business is not to overwork each other. And I think that's a huge part that we play also with being parents, our other challenge of being parents. So Calvin has a tendency to be like, today I've had enough because it's hot. He deals more in the heat and the outside. So I have a tendency to be more of a workhorse, and sadly be able to run anybody into the ground because I'm cool, and inside. And Calvin's like, it's 180 in these attics.
Yeah.
So that seems to be a little bit of our
challenge sometimes, yeah. But, we get through it, and that's our time of the year. We're used to being in that environment. So once you get probably past April, you're kind of used to the weather change where we're starting to get hot. And then it's like non-stop until October. So, but it's got its challenges and it's got its ups and downs. But overall, though, I think we've really enjoyed working together and building our company to where it is today. So,
yeah, which comes with its own challenges. We have to add employees. Well, we both have to agree on the employees before they come on board. I have to be comfortable with them from not just a female perspective, but also a parenting perspective. Simply because I know that I'm sending them into homes. I'm sending them into your environment, your home, your safety place. And you may have children, or you may have an elderly parent that is dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's or cancer. We don't know everybody's specific situation, but we have learned over the years that we both have to agree on hiring people because, as a mom, I feel like it's my duty to kind of defend my home before I let strangers in. And that's why we're so adamant about professionalism, professional dress, and doing the background checks that I do on them. And if anything comes up a little crazy, getting rid of them. But Calvin also has to be the one to decide on them technically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's making sure that they're at least that's willing to learn, and then also that has a good work ethic. I think that's probably the biggest and most important part, is having good work ethic.
So that's a few things that we have learned as being married. It still comes with its challenges. Owning a business, we still have to fit in date night. We still have to fit in vacations with the family to where we don't discuss it. It's important for us for longevity of Three Rivers, to also take some of our time on the weekend and spend it doing what we need to do as parents. Because not only are we raising children, we're raising, our perspective is that we're raising future employees.